Imagine living in a world where a single poem could stop a war, where words held more power than swords, and a poet's wisdom could end a feud that had raged for 40 years. This isn't a fantasy tale. It's the true story of one of the greatest poets in Arabian history, Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma. In the harsh, unforgiving deserts of pre-Islamic Arabia, tribal conflicts were a way of life. The slightest insult could spark a war that lasted for generations, fueled by a relentless cycle of revenge. One of the most famous of these was the War of Dahis and Al-Gabra, a conflict between the tribes of Abs and Dubyan. What started over a disputed horse race spiraled into 4 decades of bloodshed, loss, and bitterness. Countless lives were lost, and it seemed the cycle of vengeance would never end. But in the midst of this chaos lived Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma. He was a man known not for his fighting prowess, but for his profound wisdom and his incredible gift for poetry. Zuhair watched the senseless destruction with a heavy heart. He saw the futility of the endless fighting and yearned for peace. Unlike other poets who often fan the flames of war with their verses, glorifying their tribes and mocking their enemies, Zuhair chose a different path. He decided to use his poetry as a force for reconciliation. His moment came when 2 noble chieftains from the Dubyan tribe, Harim ibn Sinan and Al-Harith ibn Auf, took it upon themselves to end the war. They paid the blood money for all the lives lost on both sides out of their own pockets, a massive, almost unimaginable act of generosity and peacemaking. This was the moment Zuhair had been waiting for. He composed a masterpiece, a poem that would immortalize their actions and echo through the centuries. This poem became one of the legendary Mu'allaqat, the Hanging Odes. It was said that these 7 poems were so magnificent, they were inscribed in gold and hung on the walls of the Kaaba in Mecca for all to see and admire. In his ode, Zuhair didn't just praise the 2 peacemakers, he did something much more profound. He painted a vivid, horrifying picture of war itself. He described it as a monstrous beast, a grinder that pulverizes everything in its path. He wrote, "War is a thing which, once you stir it up, becomes blameworthy and grows wild. It will bare its teeth at you, and if you let it, it will devour you." He reminded his people of the true cost of conflict, the lost sons, the grieving mothers, the wasted resources. He contrasted this devastation with the honor and nobility of forgiveness. He praised Harim and Al-Harith not as weak men, but as the strongest of all, because they had the courage to choose peace over pride. He told the tribes of Abs and Dubyan that they had mended the ties of kinship and that their act of reconciliation was a greater victory than any battle won. His words struck a chord deep within the hearts of the Arab tribes. The poem was recited across the peninsula, and its message was impossible to ignore. Zuhair's ode wasn't just beautiful poetry, it was a powerful moral argument. It shifted the cultural narrative, showing that true honor lay not in endless revenge, but in the strength to forgive and build a future. Zuhair's life and work are a testament to the idea that a single person, armed with nothing but wisdom and eloquence, can change the course of history. He lived to be nearly 100 years old, long enough to see the peace he had championed take root. His legacy is not just in his beautiful verses, but in the very real peace he helped to forge. Centuries later, his poetry is still studied for its moral depth, its timeless wisdom, and its powerful call for an end to senseless conflict. The story of Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the pen can indeed be mightier than the sword. His life proves that the most enduring monuments are not built of stone, but of words that inspire humanity to be better. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more tales from history.